What is the cost of not hiring persons with disability? What is the cost of not making workplaces inclusive?
Corporates as well who view disabilities as a checkbox because उनके global heads ने बोला है
You know, whatever you've shared so far, having all of this in one space is like in one video is a gold mine for a person with disability. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this conversation. I have somebody really special today. She is the Additional Secretary for the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disability, 2000 batch IAS officer, West Bengal cadre. She has held leadership roles across investment, industry, public administration, and she is currently leading the inclusion of persons with disability at a national level. She brings extensive experience in translating policy into implementation and very closely associated with a lot of national level programs that work in that direction. So, everyone, just please join me in welcoming Manmeet. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you, and I am almost having a fangirl moment because this is a space that I know needs a lot of work, and it's good to be having a conversation that can possibly impact a lot of people. Manmeet, met a lot of people who are working in this space, and a lot of times there is something, there is either an interaction or an experience or a story, a personal story that has touched a personal chord. So, what was that moment for you that got you involved in working with persons with disabilities?
So, to be honest, when I was moved into this department, it took me at least about 3 to 5 months to really understand the nuances. We may feel that disabilities department is a smaller one in the pecking order, and that there are only a limited stakeholders because the budget is very small.
Right.
But it is the variety of subjects that we deal with, the variety of disabilities that we deal with. There is a lot of studying to be done. There is a lot of understanding with biology also in that.
Yes.
And that took me about 3 to 5 months, and I was taken aback because I till now took so much for granted and was never completely grateful for it. And I think there is not one day that I don't come to office feeling motivated or feeling blessed, and also with this passion that I have little time and I must put it to good use. So there are many stories, there are so many. We have a whole list of these the PWD heroes that are across our walls when you walked in.
I saw that, yes.
They represent 21 disabilities. Everybody who comes to me, the stakeholders that I deal with, the policies that we make for them, each one of them, whether they are in an audience that, like in a show like this, is hearing me or not, they each one of them is shaping the policy and giving direction to this department's work.
Right.
So I think there has never been a moment. There are so many of them, I wouldn't like to name one.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's been my most humbling assignment so far.
So, you did speak about, the work that you do, and, when we speak of any department, sometimes it is not very clear whether, and there's so many stakeholders, like you said. So, there are persons with disabilities, there are caretakers, people who take care of them. Then there are people from the corporate sector or any institution that can contribute to education, employment. The question that very often people might have is, what is it in the remit of the department? And what does a general work day look like for you?
So the department was formed fairly later on. I think it was under the Ministry of Social Justice. It came into being in 2012.
Okay.
I think that with the RPWD Act that came in 2016, it laid down a very beautiful act for the department to follow and mandate it. The 2016 Act got and recognized 21 disabilities, and that basically defines and mandates the working of this department. Though as a government department, we are given a certain budget and we run a couple of schemes. I have expanded that work, that it should not remain only within those schemes, and we very actively work with the private sector, with stakeholders, with NGO partners, with individuals who have been working in the disability space for many, many years. I think taking in their experience and also working with individual PWDs, taking in their stories and their personal experiences helps us channelize our schemes better, helps us to strategize on our policies better and take that forward. The flagship scheme has been the ADEP scheme of the department, which takes about 80% of the budget. It is distribution of aids and appliances, and we do it through our CPSC, the LMCO, which is probably the only Section 8 CPSC in the country today.
Right.
And we have then expanded the basket of aids and appliances that LMCO makes, manufactures or provides, and that has come through a series of MOUs with the private sector, manufacturing units or startups, rightly so in many ways recently with assistive technology startups. We also have an umbrella scheme for scholarships for students with disabilities. It starts from class 9 onwards and it goes on till your higher education, and we have a slot of about 20 students who want to pursue any course across the globe. In a QS ranking university of 500 and above, they can apply to us, and if they are eligible in terms of UDID and benchmark disability, and if they fit the income criteria, at present we have about 18 children who are studying abroad. And right now, when I walked into this interview room late, we were doing a screening committee for our next bunch of students. So scholarship is another area. UDID was the unique disability certification. Of course, primarily it is handled by the state government health departments and the disability boards, but the final generation of the certificate is done at our end. And then we also have the DDRS scheme, which is the Deen Dayal Upadhyaya rehabilitation scheme, where we provide funds and grants to about 350 plus NGO partners for running special projects. We also have the National Trust that runs special projects and similar kind of homes for persons with cerebral palsy, autism and ID. So this is fairly how we have managed to cover, but we come with a very small budget. It was 1,200 till end of last year. It's recently increased with 2 budget announcements. Will be very soon rolling out 2 new programs. One is the Divyang Kaushal Yojana, which will be looking into skilling for Divyangjans, so that we can have them employed in different industries and entrepreneurship programs. And there is the Divyang Sahara Yojana, which, like I said, we are trying to increase the basket of assistive technology aids and assistive marts that we will be coming about. So that's more or less the ground that the department covers.
That's very wide.
Yes, it is wide.
Yes.
But like I said, we work with a lot of non-governmental partners, many of them which we are in a non-financial agreement. We support them. We support them as knowledge partners or just as a support organization. I think that helps the entire ecosystem in a big way.
No, that makes complete sense, because there is a certain grassroots reach that would be required, and that is why this partnership makes a lot of sense. I had I was curious. Till 2011, till 16 actually, there were 7 disabilities, and a lot of our numbers in terms of how many persons of disabilities are there in India. And then 2016 that went to 21, but we've never, there are estimates, but there has never been a clear number that, what is the count. Now, in a lot of places, the UDID awareness also might not be there. There might also be hesitation to go and get. So how do we, I mean, is there something in that space that we are looking at so that we can reach more people? We can, because there's also an intersectionality with socioeconomic strata. So how do we, I mean, these are complex things, I know, but I'm just putting them in front of you.
So let me begin by saying that 2026 is a very monumental year for the disability stakeholder group, which includes the department. It's been 10 years for the RPWD Act that then recognized 21 disabilities vis-a-vis 7. It's been 20 years since India was a signatory to the UN Convention.
Yes.
It's been 10 years for the Accessible India campaign, the Sugamya Bharat campaign. So 2026 is a very big year. It is correct that the census of 2011 fairly underreports the number of persons with disabilities, because at that time
Yes.
we recognized only 7 disabilities. But also there's a reason that maybe parents, families did not openly come to accept persons with disabilities in their family because of the social stigma
Yes.
at that point of time in that societal time that we lived in. There have been NHFS data that have happened and done rounds in 2018 and 2021, which have pushed those estimates to something around 6 crores as of today. The WHO, of course, quotes the bigger one.
Yeah.
But what I would want to put on record is that disability, or actually the lack of disability, is only a temporary aspect. I may sound very morbid, but at one point of time, any of us and our family members will be disabled, whether temporary or permanent. With our aging population, we are moving faster towards that. So these are just mere numbers. What is more important is that we need to take proactive measures and steps, and it is not the mandate of the department alone. And the RPWD Act very beautifully explains that. It says that every government at every level, and it also includes private sector. So I think the RPWD Act mandated every citizen of this country. And I think the Honorable Supreme Courts in their various directions, in different courts, have laid that direction beautifully for us, which says that it's the responsibility of every individual, every company, every private sector, every MSME, every panchayat, every municipal body, every state government, every department of the Union of India, to ensure that whatever policy we come up with, whatever infrastructure we build, whatever road transportation, whatever websites, portals, apps we are putting in, they need to be accessible.
Absolutely. And I also heard that, you know, the introduction of universal design in most of the new buildings and public spaces. So, okay, so there are 2 questions coming. So let me start with the first one. So out of the 21 disabilities, there are certain disabilities like the blood-related disabilities. Then there are acid attack survivors. Then there are your leprosy cured. Out of the 21 disabilities, you know, locomotor, blind, people understand. But the ones which were
Invisible.
Invisible. And so, for example, acid attack is not invisible, it is visible, but is it seen as a disability? And is it seen as a space where education, because if a girl gets attacked at the age of 13, 5-6 years in education, and then employment will come only with education.
Yes.
So some of these areas, is there something which can be focused, because a lot of blood related disabilities are also you know, more concentrated around the tribal areas. So how do we manage these outskirts, or what, I don't know if that's the right word, but the fringes, to put it rightly?
So we have 9 national institutes under the department, and each national institute has, they are known by the major disability that they are dealing with. Like we have in Dehradun, it's with completely vision and low vision and blindness. And like that we have a locomotor, we have like that 9 across the country. They also have further composite regional centers, which are about 28 as we speak today, which are a national institute but a miniature part
Understood.
of them.
Yeah.
Among all the 21 disabilities have been divided among these national institutes.
All right.
So they are given the mandate to look after these specifically, to do research on these specifically, and that if there are major issues, say a particular intervention that is important for a particular blood related disorder that they can research on, they have come upon, that we provide them a certain kind of fund to take that forward.
Lovely.
Having said that, I think disability movement per se also requires lots of these conversations like we're having one today. It is very important that we need to increase the awareness about disabilities around us. Many of these disabilities are, like you said, invisible. Many of the disabilities are not accepted by the individual and their family members. And that is why the reason to have these conversations is important. And I think education about these disabilities also is an important task. And I believe that National Institutes, we run a lot of courses in them for rehabilitation professionals. We also educate them about the RPWD Act and about all these. We are also trying to intervene and communicate to the regulators and agencies that formulate syllabi for doctors, for paramedics, for homeopathy, that you must include modules on disability studies specifically, because these are our future service providers and they need to be able to understand and recognize persons with disabilities, and also should know basic ways to interact and communicate with them.
Yes.
We are also focusing on building rehab professionals and their numbers. That is something that we need to very actively engage and motivate many other professional institutions to take up and come up with those courses. So I think communication, information, spreading of that information, interacting with stakeholders, going out. So this is a ministry where I am usually out in public functions a lot. And the reason is that that engagement is very important for me to understand where the shoe pinches.
Yeah.
I can't do that sitting in this room. I need to go out to meet the stakeholders, and expecting them to come here and to do this tedious task of getting into the office, getting that pass done is not done. So again, engaging with stakeholders through different forums. And that prompted me to join the LinkedIn. Actually, I was never a part of it. I realized that this particular job wants and demands engagement at all levels.
Yeah. How does a person with disability get to know what are these 9 institutions and how do they access them? Because if I am a person with disability, I can have multiple disabilities. So I can have a mental illness, and along with that I can have maybe vision. So how do I access these?
So the information on all these national institutes and our CRCs, the smaller versions of the national institutes, are all on our websites.
Understood.
Everybody can walk in there and take and avail the services therein. However, I believe that all these national institutes also have their own MOUs or memorandum of understanding with the local communities, the stakeholders, the NGOs that work in those local field areas as well. On the other hand, LMCO also has this huge footprint across the country. The LMCO, the CPSC that makes the aids and appliances. They also have about 75 ASRA centers, which are basically their small service and repair areas. They also run an Arjun portal, which is again an area where you can access information about the department and all its activities. We also run something known as 102 such single walk-in centers called the Pradhan Mantri Divyasha Kendras. They are also again spread across all the 36 states and UTs.
And all this information would be available
on the website.
Yes. So if I were a person with disability and I would say that, okay, this is my disability, this is the help that I need, who do I contact?
Yes. But I also know that there is a need to improve that.
Mm.
And for that, we are trying to now use AI in a big way. We have launched a soft launch of a chatbot called Divya Chatbot,
Right.
whose number we again display on the website, which again gives a lot of information about all our services, about where you can reach out, about NGOs working in that area. We also have something known as a Sugamya Bharat app, which again is an app available on the Google Store and on, I think, on the Apple Store, where you can again go log on, download it, log on, you'll get information about different schemes, etc. We are also now in the process, in a couple of months we launch that, something known as a rehabilitation marketplace. We realize that if today I'm a parent and I have realized that my child is autistic and I'm in a small city, say about 100 kilometers away from Jodhpur, I do not know what to do.
Agreed.
And I need to reach out to not just a rehab professional, I need to reach out to maybe organizations that do work with autistic children, some schools who can guide me to an educator, maybe a parent organization, a support group. So we are trying to map all of that, and I hope we will be successful. It'll be organic, it'll keep growing, because we won't be the sum and one all of knowing everything. But that's why we're calling it as a marketplace. It's like very loosely to explain, like a Practo.
Yes.
You can come on to it, search for it, find out what's in your vicinity. And I hope we can bring it to the ecosystem as soon as possible.
You know, whatever you've shared so far, having all of this in one space is like, in one video, is a gold mine for a person with disability. Because very often, like you said, that, you know, if I'm a parent with a child who has autism on the spectrum, I would not know where to look.
Yes.
But everything that you've shared so far, I think will help a lot of people. So you sit, you know, at a very interesting intersection. So you did mention, like you said, that, you know, the RPWD Act makes and holds everyone accountable. And I completely agree with you, because there's research which says that 90% of persons with disability are not born with it.
Yes.
They acquire it within the age range of 18 to 65. It could be an outcome of an illness or an accident or a crime, right? So this intersection of government policy, persons with disability and the private sector, what are the obstacles and the barriers and the hurdles that you encounter sitting on this intersection?
That's a difficult question, and it's going to get me into a lot of trouble, but I will still insist on answering it honestly. So first is that this sector definitely requires a lot of intersectionality, intercoordination, one at the department level. So I need to be constantly speaking to the concerned departments of education,
Yes.
of health, of women and child, Ministry of INB. You will ask me why. All information needs to be accessible. Electronics, that is METI, consumer affairs, transportation, railways, airports, Ministry of Road Transport, Mahua, why? CPWD, PWD, name it. So that's, I'm 17, 18 ministries, definitely.
Completely,
Tourism.
because we're talking about a human.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
But the sad part is that we all work in silos and we don't believe in talking to each other, and each one thinks, hum bahut mahan hai, unko kuch nahi pata. That's when I said I'll get into trouble. Second, I believe that intersectionality and coordination does not even exist in the disability sector among NGOs. I have seen it. I won't name when and where, but disability groups don't agree with each other. Disability groups vie for space amongst each other. Disability groups, many of them don't agree that technology is needed in this sector, and that it is an it has an additional advantage for a person with disability, and it's not going to, it gives us greater benefit than harm. So there is a lot of dichotomy among disability groups and organizations and stakeholders working there. There is also a greater need and coordination or sectionality among corporates as well, who view disabilities as a checkbox, because उनके global heads ने बोला है कि diversity, equality, inclusion का checkbox करना है. बहुत सारा सब कुछ लिखा है black and white में. There are a lot of forms that we need to fill. There are a lot of forms that the RBI asks the banks. There are a lot of forms that Ministry of Corporate Affairs expects corporates of a certain width and height to fulfill. But it is all in paper and there is no enforceability. And corporates need to stop looking at the disability sector as a welfare,
as a CSR,
as CSR, as only CSR.
Yeah.
I think they need to wake up, and I hope that through your medium, I'm able to reach to them. Disability is no more a welfare policy. It is investment in human capital. It is commercially and economically productive for you. If you make things that are accessible, inclusive, you are increasing your consumer base. You are reaching out to X number of people which you've not reached out to.
Correct.
And can you imagine the numbers when we take only India into account? You are innovating products without involving the person with disability and trying to make accessibility features for it. Why? Corporates need to invest into the disability sector as it makes economic sense. These people, if they are empowered with the right education, the right skilling, the right microfinancing at the time, are not just your consumers. They are potential economic carriers for the GDP of the country. And if their economic power increases, earning power increases, then your products are only going to be used more.
Agreed.
ये जब तक सोच नहीं बदलेगी, I can keep going, but
your passion truly came through in this question, and I loved that you called a spade a spade. So thank you for that.
I get told that back home also, that मुंह बंद रखा करो. You shouldn't call an apple, but I can't help it.
ये मैंने भी सुना था करीब एक हफ्ते पहले. It's fine. But you know, you very rightly pointed out, you know, very often we get asked this question. So when we do audits or when we are looking at placing people, the cost of hiring people with disability. Now, let's flip the narrative. What is the cost of not hiring persons with disability? What is the cost of not making workplaces inclusive? Because today I might be moving around, I might not be disabled, but tomorrow what if I am? Suddenly my office stops being accessible. I can't access information, I can't access meeting rooms, I can't access services, I can't go to the washroom, I can't go to the canteen. What does it do for me? So, is there a number that we can look at from what is the cost of exclusion, which will not show in any P&L, because nobody is tracking it, right?
These are invisible numbers, right? We are invisible for them.
Yes. So, how do we get people to flip the narrative from how much is it going to cost me to hire 20 persons with disabilities, make a ramp, make an accessible washroom, to what it will cost me if I don't have a diverse workforce, if people with disabilities are not represented in the workforce?
Okay, so I am nudging a very, very innovative project called the Purple Economy. We are being helped by Ek Step Foundation. We have partners like Tech Mahindra, Enable India. And it is said it is estimated and it has been calculated using a lot of research, etc., that there's this persons with disabilities space or the purple economy, which is not being used or not being invested in or looked into, is about $150 billion USD as of today. So that's a number that I could give you. And these are workforces or people who just need a little bit of unique adjustments. And people have this feeling that any kind of assistive technology is expensive.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, आज हम अपना फ़ोन यूज़ करते हैं और टेक्स्ट करते हैं, वो प्रिडिक्टिव टेक्स्ट करते हैं, हम वॉइस नोट्स भेजते हैं. These were meant for persons with disabilities.
Yes.
We are using them more and more.
Yeah.
And chat GPT is anyway emptying जो थोड़ा बहुत दिमाग था हमारे अंदर, taking that away from us. So all that was AI that has been making for us was actually made also keeping in mind persons with disabilities. So I think that's a big number that one should keep in mind. And keeping that in mind, we are going along with this Purple Economy pilot project. We've identified about 12 districts across the country.
Okay.
And we are trying to digitally discover persons with disability.
Okay.
So when I say that somebody is a purple dot, if I'm identified as a person with benchmark disability of 40%,
right,
I have a UDID card, and I have a income that is below, the eligible limits of my government program, I'm a dark purple dot. I can be immediately picked up and absorbed in any of the government schemes that my department runs. But a larger subset of this are the lighter purple dots. These are persons with disabilities, but either they don't have the benchmark disability, or they don't have the UDID card. And the UDID card takes a lot of time to get made because it depends on the disability certification boards, the doctors in the state governments and the UTs, and it is a long-term process there. Or they have an income limit that is slightly higher than mine, but they are still the lower middle class or the middle class income. But these are PWDs, they are purple dots, they have aspirations, they have needs, they have demands. So these are the purple dots that I'm discovering digitally, building a rail and matching them to our purple providers.
Okay.
It could be corporates looking to do CSR, it could be corporates producing or manufacturing inclusive items, clothing, assistive aids. It could be corporates willing and wanting to hire persons with disabilities. It could be training partners, organizations who have over a period of time developed SOPs to skill persons with disabilities, because it's a well-known fact that a person with disability is a better worker, is more attentive, is on his job for that limited number of hours that you are there, because they are less distracted. We need to tap on that skill set. It could be regular service providers. It could be a coaching center wanting to provide online coaching to a remotely based person with disability. So we are trying to marry the purple dots with the purple providers digitally, and discovering them digitally and matchmaking that.
Nice.
That is the purple economy.
Okay. And how do you, apart from the purple providers, which might be NGOs or already working in assistive technology or doing education, how do we get, let's say, corporates into the purple economy?
We will get them through your talk, number one. We are going to do road shows. We have written letters to companies. We will try and attract them through the Elimco's CSR method. We've begun it in small spurts. We are doing a bigger, versions of these road shows in the coming 6 to 7 weeks, trying to get them to join us in our endeavor, because this can't be done alone.
It can't.
I mean, even if you increase the budget of this department 100 times, it can't be done alone, and it need not be done alone. Like I said, it's not charity that they need. What they need is an adaptive response based on what they need. I could have a kid in Basti wanting to get a coaching for NEET by a great Khan Academy. But he can't have the flexibility of going there.
Yeah.
Maybe he can afford it, maybe he can't afford it, but to have it get to it in the comfort of his home, and if I can make him a doctor, that's one victory, number one.
That is, yes, and what I see as ripples, you know,
Yeah.
one at a time,
Yes.
maybe. So, if we were to make some, or if you were to give 3 to 4 very, very actionable things to CHROs who would be listening to this program, to this podcast, these 3 to 4 things, let's do it and make a tangible impact. What those 3 or 4 things be?
One would be to join us on our Purple Economy endeavor.
And how do they join?
We will reach out to you. If you want to reach out to us, write to me. All
Got
you
it.
need to do is email me. I mean, I met you guys on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn, yes.
You just need to reach out to my email ID. It's on the website.
Got it.
You want to be a part of the Purple Economy, be it. Enable India is going to do a launching of the Purple paper that they have made, and that's where the numbers will come out beautifully. So each stakeholder who is joining hands with me is doing their little bit of reaching out to corporates, to CSRs, to research units, to HNIs, everywhere and every space. You know, we did a pre-pilot study and we realized it was in a small place in probably Haridwar or Patna ke surrounding villages, and we got in touch with our foot soldiers NGOs. They came back to me to tell, "Ki ma'am, there is the Rotary clubs, the smaller towns,
Yes.
the tier 2, tier 3 Rotary clubs organization, they also want to contribute,
This
but
I've
they
heard.
don't know whom to give.
Yes.
They don't know who is reliable and existing, and there's no ghost purple dot." So that's when this idea clicked, and we said that we need to, figure out discoverable, reliable purple dots and give you a face and name and details. You tell me how you want to help. There is another pilot that I would want to draw your attention to. It's called the Coalition of the Willing. We have about 7 to 8 organizations. They work in the hearing impairment space.
Got it.
They have a life cycle approach. So we are treating this pilot as a life cycle approach, saying that we're trying to get in touch with, again, we'll be doing it at different pilots and different districts across the country, where children have been identified with hearing impairment, how to ensure that we can get them to have a cochlear implant as early as possible, because it's earlier than 3 years the implant works, getting CSR funding for that, getting their generally tests done there, the audio therapy to be followed by the cochlear implant. Otherwise, teaching them sign language, very, very important. And sadly, many a times in their own families, it's the female caregiver or the mother who knows the Indian Sign Language. The father has no idea how to communicate to the child. Teaching the sign language to every member of the family. Then creating awareness among existing teachers in that school. So we do have inclusive schools, we do have special educators, but many a times they do not know the basic of Indian Sign Language. So that is trying to touch that aspect as well.
What about the sensitivity towards children with...
We're coming to that. So there is orientation of not just citizens, parent groups, teachers and community leaders, sensitization, teaching them and telling them sensitization also in terms of health and reproductive issues regarding a hearing impaired girl child or a boy, to teach their parents about it, how they will communicate. Then again going on to communicate and improve sign language skill sets among doctors, teachers, because these are the service providers they will be coming in touch with. Then giving them inclusive education, working on inclusive sign language based, concept based education right from class 1 to class 12, helping them in UDID registrations. Then moving on, like I said, life cycle. So then looking into their higher education needs, skilling. We need to get them to learn a skilling so that they can become economic members of their own families, which gives them greater self-esteem and
Yes.
empowerment, and then role models for the future of that family and further on, skilling them, identifying corporates who are willing to take them on, and then gainfully employing them. So that's a life cycle approach, and it's the coalition of willing. Again, 7 organizations working in the hearing impairment speech, each having a specialization in education, inclusive education, in awareness generation, community participation, parent support groups, bringing them all together.
Lovely. So the first thing I heard you say was for CHROs to join the purple economy. Second thing, you spoke about this coalition of willing. Here, I think possibly CSR for the cochlear implants and the ISL training. Plus, if there is a possibility of hiring. What else? What else would you tell?
There are 2 more. We, like I mentioned, that Elimco has set up 102 Pradhan Mantri Divyasha Kendras. We have 3 more that have come up with CSR support from public sector undertakings. So it costs about 1.5 to 2 crore annually, which looks into the running of the Pradhan Mantri Divyasha Kendra, all the personnel running, the operational O&M costing. The CSR support from the public sector undertakings have now increased. We aim to open 300 by the end of another 3 to 4 years. So that is one area where corporates can come in and partner with Elimco to set these up. We don't need buildings to be made.
Yeah.
It can be any building, about 2,000 square foot of space that I need, and I need to get hold and professionals, rehab professionals. It have a clinical psychologist, it has a prosthetician, an orthotist, an audiologist, these kind of specialist, special educator also, that could be one. We also run cross disability early intervention centers across the country. We have about 28 of them. They are also running in our various NIs and CRCs. Why I say this is an important intervention where corporates can help us is because the earlier we detect a child with disabilities and provide proper rehabilitation and unique rehabilitation, like what an individualized rehab plan, we can get them sooner into inclusive schools. So this is something that requires funding.
Yeah.
And one last thing, you asked for 4, I'm giving you 5. AT marts, assistive tech marts. Through our Elimco, we are trying to set up assistive tech franchisee model marts. So it could be like a good lens cart. I'm just giving an example. When you walk into a lens cart showroom, you have frames worth 200, 2,000, 20,000 and more. So the assistive tech marts will showcase a variety of assistive tech aids and appliances that you can come, have a look at, see how it is, check the quality and buy it. So we are trying to open these in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and we want it on a franchisee model because we want to increase the basket of products. So they are not just government-backed, government-manufactured Elimco products, but it will be products that Elimco verifies, certifies, but private sector.
There's this one that you can just move your head and your
So we have a Meta,
Yeah.
but today I have been fortunate to launch the Jyoti AI Smart Vision Glasses by Torchit, which at a half degree or like a reduced price, they are connected through the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So the amazing power of AI and
Yes.
assistive tech, and they can see everything that is in front of you, explain everything to you, and help you feeling more empowered and more visible.
So again, Manmeet, it gives me 2 directions. One is join the purple economy. Second, support these schemes because A, it helps. So if I were to link it to what is in it for a CHRO. So A, you get in touch with a lot of talent that gets helped and therefore employed. That's one. So I am still saying that what else can a CHRO do, let's say in this quarter within their organizations? Is there something that you would want to tell them apart from hiring, of course.
They can identify jobs where they can job mapping, that we keep finding that we are training skilled PWDs, but they are not getting jobs. That bridge that needs to come out between skilling institutions and what the industry needs, that needs to be very clearly spelled out.
That's a very interesting one.
You tell me what kind of jobs you have for hiring PWDs, but make sure that they are just not entry level jobs. You need to give them promotional aspects as well. I will train the PWDs for you and help you get the right talent, and then you choose yourself and go. There's a very beautiful organization called the Teach. They run this very nice course where they pick up kids after 10th or 12th, I'm not sure, teach them an entire BCom graduate degree. They're all in the hearing impairment space. They teach them a BCom. They also teach them skilling in either digital marketing, accountancy, etc. And they help them appear for interviews. They help them appear for mock interviews, take different examination, and they've got them also employed at different MNCs, etc. Help organizations like that. Join hands with them. We will provide you PWDs. You have to tell us what you want. If you are saying कि हमें PWD employ करना, but कैसे नहीं? You have to make your workspaces inclusive. You need to have your policies inclusive. You need to do that beyond the checkbox.
Correct.
And if you see it ki I have to touch a goal and I have to employ X number in that year, that's not going to fulfill what we need or what this ecosystem needs.
So let me take your life cycle example. So let's say we have companies that are hiring, and they are, right? What, according to you, gets broken at the interview, selection, recruitment process?
Sorry, what do you mean by broken? Broken by
as a
the
process.
corporate?
So I'm a person with disability. I'm going to give an interview or going to apply. What might not work?
So the person interviewing a person with disability needs to be fairly sensitive about what they are getting into. If they are skeptical about a person with disability, or they come with a blocked mindset कि इसको लेने से we will have problems, there will be costings, we will have to make an accessible toilet, we need to have a buddy system, we will need to give him expensive software, and maybe with that expensive software our data will get all stolen. If we come with that mindset, we are definitely not employing a person with disability. So first, the sensitization of the CHRO is most important, and I think sensitizing him, her, and the entire team is important. The person where they work will be, the environment where the person will finally be employed will be important. So I think the skilling of the person with disability should also have a large component on the job training, which will ensure greater absorption and a larger period of retention.
Yes. So I heard you said sensitize the CHRO community, number one. Build a business case, show them the cost of exclusion. Number two, the managers who are going to be the bosses. And number three, the talent acquisition team.
Yeah. And then make sure mandatorily that they spend a couple of hours every quarter at some NGO or organization where they interact with persons with disabilities. Because like I said, the biggest impediment to disability is not, it's not disability or inaccessibility in physical transportation or digital. It's the disability of the mind. The attitude is invalid.
Manmeet, have you interacted with people who have been employed? And what are some of the challenges that they have come to you with?
So the first challenge is that they feel that they are not paid as much. They don't have promotional aspects. They do require reaching the place of employment is very big, one very big hurdle that we as a corporate can easily, it's solvable in some way or the other. Transfer policies in some places can be a big issue. Like I said, giving them any kind of assistive aid or tech is seen as an extra spending, whereas you're actually making a person more productive by spending on that software, and that there is no data loss in that, that you can be, greatly, that's a misconception that many people have. I think these are some that comes to my mind as we speak.
Interestingly, there is a term gender pay gap. There is no disability or ability pay gap. So once I remember asking this to a talent acquisition team, saying that tomorrow if your head of the department acquires a disability, would you reduce their salary by 40%? It was a tough question which was evaded, but that's the reality. Okay, you've given us a lot of information about policies, schemes, but tell me, for example, you said that getting a UDID done is a long drawn process, and it is something which I have often found that people also hesitate from proceeding on because of the social stigma. So can you tell me 5 such, I don't want to use, but that's the only word which is coming to mind, but 5 loopholes that a person with disability needs to know so that they can use every facility that you are providing. See, nothing's perfect. So for example, UDID में टाइम लगता है, लेकिन एक बार आपके पास है तो उससे बेनिफिट है. So what would be the other 4?
I think they should focus on getting as much attempt at getting absorbed in all the schemes that the governments provide. There are many people who don't want to make that attempt to go there because they keep saying that they will get harassed. But there are a lot of schemes that the state governments also provide, because disability is a state subject. It's under the state.
What is this harassed piece?
In the sense that they बहुत paperwork मांगेंगे.
अच्छा, okay.
हमें बार-बार जाना पड़ेगा. That can be an issue with many. Of course, it is also an expenditure for many. I think stakeholder organizations working at the grassroots help in many ways by greatly educating the parents and the families about it. And when that has been done, that harassment or waiting time for registration of UDID decreases. So like a pre-enrollment drive is a great thing that I think a district administration or a state can look into, and that is something that we also motivate and try and do that. There are a lot of waitings at the district hospitals. Sometimes they choose the wrong district hospital, which is not near their vicinity. They say कि एम्स में चले जाएंगे क्योंकि हम गाजियाबाद में रहते हैं. That also causes a lot of issues for them. So it is better to choose what is closer to you. We can't really blame the medical fraternity also entirely and completely, because there are a lot of caseloads on them and they do a variety of other jobs than just do the disability certifications. So there is an issue. But if we had a fixed date at the designated hospital and ensure that the entire team works, it does help. Many state governments have also devised protocols in terms of doing about 80% of the assessment based on the paper and the documentation, and then doing the last aspect of it by going to the person's doorstep. There are some unique pilots that have been done that have worked well. So those are also some initiatives that different state governments and their health departments can take. We need to, like I said, it's an intersectional and a coordination issue. It is also a silo issue. If we use the existing workforce of the ASHA workers, the Anganwadi workers, well coordinated with district medical officers, the CMOH, the problem and the burden will definitely decrease. Of course, it requires a strong will, well coordinated, de-silofied district level working, but I think that is possible if we really want to achieve that.
One person approaches one family and addresses all the issues, rather than 10 people going to them with 10 kinds of forms.
Yes.
Makes sense. Okay. So, a hypothetical case. Okay. A fresher. अभी graduation खत्म करी है. Maybe, whether it's an engineering or a 3-year graduation. About to go in for a job, has an invisible disability, and is wondering whether to disclose or not to disclose. What would be your advice?
That's a tough one. नौकरी मिल गई उसको?
हाँ, मिल गई है.
Ethically, he should disclose it because it will help him adjust to his workplace better. Again, it depends on the HR policy. I don't know how they are going to react to it, but it is easier said than done. I'm not in that shoe right now, but I think it would be better to disclose it because there is goodness in this world, and if there is goodness in this world, there would be somebody who understands that you require a particular kind of minor adjustment in your workplace, because if you've fought with so many disabilities and so many junctions in your life, you've cleared your exams, you've cleared your competition, you've cleared the interview, you've got the job, then you are worth it. But again, it's a difficult question to answer, and it is not a right or wrong in either. That's what I would say.
Yeah. And let's say the person discloses, and then the acceptance. So nobody can take away the offer letter, but the experience might not be that good. What would your advice then? To continue, to raise a voice, to do what?
Again, raising a voice again has its pros and cons.
Yes.
It again depends on the constitution of that committee who's going to look at it. But these kind of issues can happen to even a non-disabled person actually.
Yes.
And the corporate life is, or any professional life is not very forgiving. So I think each to its own, frankly. Very difficult to tell something that this is what you need to do.
Okay. For someone who is wanting to build a career in disability inclusion, not a person with disability, but somebody who is wanting to, and you would have seen a lot of them, what do some of the best of them have in common?
Passion. It's their passion that will take them through. They can't be in such a space if they are not passionate about it. And the ability to listen to people, because you really need to reach out to people and listen to them. Many people will rant and rant over and again, but you really need to have that patience there. It's such a humbling experience. It is so motivating, because you can actually see how interventions can change a person's entire life. You can see how a small intervention can empower an individual, and with one individual, the entire family. So yeah, you need to have passion, and I think that's true of any job in public policy. Because public policy is not glamorous at all. It is repeating the same case study and the same requirement or a policy to different set of stakeholders, answering the same set of questions that come with different undertones and questions of doubt repeatedly. It's following up over and over again, because like I said, public policy is intersectional in many ways. It is dependent on many things. So that will require a lot of patience, a lot of rewriting or writing the same letters over and over again. It is convincing, it's persuasion, positive mindset, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Hard work.
We at Marching Sheep call it the woodpecker approach.
Yeah, keep at it.
Keep
right?
at it, absolutely.
Oh, nice.
And
I will use that next time.
because the number of times we just meet a wall, but then you go back, and last financial year we placed 126 persons with disabilities, and the feeling that 126 sets of parents know that now their child is going to lead a life of independence and dignity, I don't think any feeling
Absolutely.
can change that. And I'm getting goosebumps as I'm sitting here. It's just very satisfying.
You've not changed 126 individuals, you've changed 126 into 5 average lives.
Yeah. Because they will in turn become, like you said, role models and people who refer, and yeah. Okay, you've seen the Marching Sheep Disability Inclusion Report.
Yes.
What about the report? Um, any information, statistics, data, insight, anything that surprised you?
No, it was nice to know, and it was something that I had believed, that the number of PWDs that have been employed over the last year in the corporate private sector has increased. It just shows that we are a living, thriving society, thankfully, a nation that is willing to accept and be inclusive, and that the younger generation, maybe the generation that is actually working, employing, believes in inclusivity in the truest sense. It also brought in light that the government needs to pull up their socks. It's been 10 years of RPWD. The government number of government's employment figures, that is a reservation of 4%, we have sadly not managed to reach up to. But of course, there are about 4,000 employing cadres of the government across. So there are again a lot of talking, motivating, explaining, re-explaining that we need to keep doing with the government employers as well. Re-looking at the job requirements to ensure and tell them that this can be done by a person with disability. That has also in the last 3 to 4 years shown an uptick, thankfully. So I think the pace of all of this needs to increase, and I think 10 years is enough time. So we should show our impatience in that and really, really push through it.
You know, sometimes, and it's just me rambling, I sometimes feel that you said about pace. I think some of the pace got picked up because there is an entire new generation, like you said. So there is Gen Z and younger millennials who are taking on leadership roles, and the way they have been exposed thanks to internet and the way it's boomed in the last 10 years, the way they have been exposed to different dimensions of diversity is far different from possibly what our parents would have seen. And sometimes I feel that I cannot fast forward time, right? So एक वो जो pace का जो एक, I don't want to use the word panga, but that's the panga, you know. So pace का जो वो एक concept है, sometimes the societal construct and everything has to move alongside. So we do our woodpecker job, and we hope that we create enough ripples that they move into waves.
Yes.
So,
you know, there was I visited my parents in Chandigarh about 2 weeks ago. They're old. My father's almost 90. My mom's 87. I took them out. They're very reluctant to step out of the house. I took them out for a meal in a South Indian restaurant. The seating was, the ground floor seating was almost full. But I went up to the receptionist and I said, you know, they are old. I don't want to take them to the first floor. So do you mind if I wait here? I will wait for a table to get empty, and then I will take. I don't mind waiting for 10-15 minutes. She said, yeah, please sit. So a young family, the parents must be 35, 40 years old. They are two young, beautiful girls. What instantly drew me to them is that the moment my parents walked in, they instinctively said Sat Shri Akal. So it was probably they've been taught that when there's an elderly person walking into a room, you wish them nicely. And after 5 minutes, I see that the waiter came and told me that that table has got empty, and aap wahan jaake baithiye, where that family was sitting. But I knew that the family had still not finished their sweet dish because they had just ordered it in front of me. So, and then I looked back where they were sitting, but they had already moved away.
Hmm.
They had got into tinier tables where they divided themselves into pairs just to accommodate my parents and me to sit on that table. So when we make an inclusive society and we talk about that pace, it can be hastened by that small family who modeled inclusive, respectable behavior, taught their children so beautifully, and it left me an impressionable mind that I'm talking about them today.
Yeah.
I hope they see this. I mean, it was
I-
such a beautiful, small, non-economic, didn't cost them anything.
It was a gesture.
It was
I
such a
think
beautiful gesture.
the thought, and like you said, there is good in the world.
Yes.
There is.
Yes.
And if more conversations can pull
Yes.
that out,
Yes.
I think we've got something.
That's how
going.
you guys went on to employ 126 people. It was not probably the mandate of your organization to begin with. I assume when I read the report, that's what I felt.
Yes, initially we weren't sure because we, like I said, we met with a lot of walls. But you know, every time we placed someone, we celebrated.
That's nice.
So it was nice.
Yes.
Okay, the time machine. I'm almost done. Okay, you tired?
Yeah.
Okay, so just okay. So if you could go back 10 years
Okay.
and change one decision, one policy, one moment, one missed call, anything which impacted how India today approaches disability inclusion, what would it be?
Oh, that's a big one. I'll get into trouble with this again. I think the RPWD Act 2016, 10 years ago, is one beautiful piece of legislation. It does had, I think it has two sections that talk about imprisonment. If I think you do not behave appropriately with a
Yes.
person with disability. But what it lacked in terms of its rules, it didn't have an enforcement mechanism. And it talked about fine or imprisonment, which means that you first file a case, file an FIR, go to the judicial route, and then take that person to court. We are talking of many, many months and years. What I would have wanted that legislation to have would have a very clear-cut enforceability mechanism. It could have been an administrative adjudication. If there is not following of any section, each department, government should have an accessibility reporting mechanism team headed by a senior officer. If that fails, there should be an administrative mechanism of imposing penalty, which does not require them to go to court. Penalties through the administrative mechanism. That would create greater enforceability.
Agreed.
So I think that would be one big thing that I would have wanted the RPWD Act to have, or the rules to have.
Perfect. And I hope we stay in touch, but if we were having this conversation again in 2036, what do you think would have changed?
I would have retired.
So would I, hopefully.
I hope I would still be working in the disability space, and I hope that we would be moving at a faster pace towards a Viksit, Sugamya, inclusive Bharat, where we didn't have to fight for accessible movies, accessible OTT, accessible metro, railway, airways travel, accessible bus, accessible footpaths, and greater number of people who are employed and working with each one of us.
Lovely, and amen to that. Fingers
Yes,
crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I don't think I've had such a candid conversation in a very long time, and so valuable, because I think every person with disability who is going to listen to you is going to walk away with something that they can do. What you spoke about the purple economy, I think is beautiful, and I hope it really ignites passion in a lot of companies to join hands. So I really look forward to what this does, this
Thank you.
conversation.
Thank you for listening to me so patiently. The last part of our conversation I will record and send it to my kids because they complain that, Mom, you talk too much. And you're always on LinkedIn and you're always responding to people. People would think you don't work, but I want to use this opportunity to tell that I think this is one of my ways to engage with all of you. If I've not been able to live up to your expectation, I will keep trying so that there is greater purple dots that we match with the purple providers.
Yes.
Because there are so many of us who are willing to contribute, have the skill sets, just need that small little push.